In this session we're going to briefly look at sales order processing and how we can determine what orders need to be processed in the system. We'll start by selecting debtors, sales order entry, transaction entry, and sales order and quote entry. Looking up the transaction number list box will give us a list of those sales orders which are in the system and which haven't been processed. You'll notice that we've just got only orders highlighted here. If we tick the box include all orders, we'll now see the list has been expanded and it includes some items with a blue cross against them. These items are sales orders which have been completed. So back out of that screen, we'll put a new sales order in now. I'll select a debtor just at random. I'm going to go straight to the line entry and we'll add a couple of lines of stock lines in here. So we'll put a dozen of those in and select again, pencil case, put two of those in and append, and we might just leave it with those two items on it. Click OK and preview that, and we now have our sales order sitting in here as a sales order with those two line items on it. You'll also notice we've got an option box here, process and print the invoice. I want to answer no to that because if I process it now, it'll lock it away as a processed invoice. Because I've answered no to that, it now means that when we do a lookup in here, we've got that sales order sitting in here for as often as we need to have it changed or edited. So I'll just reselect that and I'll go straight to the line items on that, and we might decide for whatever reason just to add something on, which I can. But importantly, we might use this as an opportunity to add freight or other charges to the sales order, having picked it already. So I'll add on a charge line. Those items we put in here were stock items. I'll now change to a charge line, which will give us a list of our charge lines which we have previously set up, and select freight, and I'll change the freight to say $25. Click OK. So when we preview this sales order now, we've got our extra lines put on it, but interestingly we've got an item which is showing us as being on back order. Now we perhaps should have looked a little bit more closely at our sales order screen when we put that item on, because the client might say don't split the order or remove that item. So I will actually go back into our sales order screen again, and when we go to our lines, when we pick our pencil case for schools in here, we'll just simply delete that line, click OK, and we're previewing with those lines on it only. Now it just illustrates that we can change this order as many times as we wish. If I now accept to process and print the invoice, which I will, and do a preview, it's now come through as a tax invoice, so effectively that sales order is now closed and completed. So I'll close our preview screens down. So you'll notice it's now gone off our list in here altogether. However, if we include it as all orders, you'll see it's still in the system, but we can conceal it if we want. So again, we get back to the list of those sales orders which are in the system still requiring to be processed. That's all I wish to explain at this stage. Perhaps we can have another session.